built a mesh architecture over a period of 10 years. So it's nothing new, okay? It's not something that we have developed last month or yesterday. It's something that we've been working on for the last 10 years. And it's critical to understand that because when we first started in 2015, all we had was a SIM, okay, a security information and event management solution. And that's all we had. And then we added threat intelligence, and then we added EDR, and we added NDR, and we added vulnerability management. Why? Because we cannot allow tools to operate in silos. You have to have it all connected. And what we were trying to do in 2015 was interconnect all these devices so that we have the right information at the right time so we can take the right action. And that's what time to containment is in 5 minutes. Because everything is connected. Somebody says to me, how can you prove 5 minutes containment? Everything is connected. So if you understand how APIs work, you understand how time to containment is going to work. And the use cases that we have developed over the last 3 to 5 years are become the key use cases that customers need to implement. So when you need to go out and talk to your firewall team and say block this port, it doesn't take you 2 days or 2 hours or 2 weeks. We do it in real time. So the first thing that happens is you detect malicious activity, okay? So you detect malicious activity because you have a SIM, you have an EDR, you have a secure web gateway, you have a firewall, you have some tool that detects the malicious activity. Okay? So once you detect the malicious activity, the next step, you need to analyze it. Is this a false positive? You hear in our business, everybody talks about false positives. Is this a false positive? Well, it's not a false positive. You're going to check the severity of the incident. Okay, you're going to check the confidence. And after you've done all your analysis and you decide, hey, you know what? This is something bad happening in our environment. You need to now take action. So when you want to take action, you want to start containing. So how do you start to contain action? You got to first secure the user. How do you secure the user? You secure the user by going into Azure AD or Azure Entra or whatever the hell they're calling it today. Okay? And you've got to secure the user. You've got to go to the multi-factor authentication system. So whether it's Microsoft MFA or Duo, you've got to go and you've got to force the authentication. So that's how you secure the user. Then you've got to secure the network. That means you've got to block the port in the firewall. You've got to block the port on the secure web gateway. You might have one firewall, or you might have 50 firewalls. Or we have a customer that's got 500 firewalls. So you can't just block the IP on one firewall, you've got to block it across the board. And then you've got to go to your Azure environment and block it on your Azure. You've got to go to your AWS environment, blocking your AWS environment. So what you're doing now, you're putting a protective zone across your entire environment. And then finally, you've got to secure the endpoint. So whether you're using SentinelOne or whether you're using CrowdStrike, you've got to now contain the endpoint. So you've got this whole laundry list of information that you've got to perform. In today's world, even if you have the best team, it's going to take you 1 day. It's going to take you 1 day to do all this work that I've talked about just now. Because you've got to go talk to your network team, you've got to talk to your AD team, you've got to go talk to your server team, you've got to talk to your end user teams. So when you're doing all this, it's going to take you forever. Even if you are the best organization, it's going to take you a day. My experience is that it takes 3-5 days to do all this work. In 3 and 5 days, this data is now stale. The information is useless. What Stratagem has done and what we're doing so well is that we can do this in under 5 minutes. In under 5 minutes, we can take all the action that today it takes the average enterprise that's working at peak performance a day. And this is what we need in today's world. Okay? It's all about automation. But you can't just automate willy-nilly. You've got to have the right use cases. Okay? You've got to have the right use cases. That's what strategy has been doing. We have been developing these use cases for the last 2 years. So all the scars on my back, I know what works and what doesn't work. So we have been developing these use cases, and so now we can implement these use cases for you, and we can take all this action in real time. I don't need to go talk to my firewall team anymore. I don't need to go talk to my server team anymore. I can take the action in real time. And we follow change management process. Okay, so we're not just doing the change without following change process. Every large enterprise will have a strict change management policy. We will follow those policies, but we just do it in real time. And everything that we do is recorded in the ServiceNow incident. So there's an audit trail that we did this investigation, we saw this activity, we determined it was malicious, and we've taken this action. All that record, all that information is there for you. So when you do your audit, when the auditors come and say, what, you have an audit trail for you. But it doesn't end there. We have to now go and investigate. Because when you detect a malicious activity, it's not because you have some fancy tools. It's because the hacker has made a mistake. It's because the hacker is greedy. And so the hacker gets caught. But because the hacker got caught today, it doesn't mean that the hacker's been in your environment today. The hacker can have been in your environment for the last 6, 8, 9 months. And what do? When the first thing they come in, they drop malicious code. Because why? Because they want to come back in the second time and the third time. So they drop it. So we have to go and do the threat hunting. So when you do threat hunting, you have to figure out where is this malicious code. How do you do it? How do you prevent it from happening again? And then finally, you got to do the eradication. So you got to remove all the malicious code. You got to fix this configuration settings that you have, and then you close the incident. So what Strategem is offering is automation, time to containment. So stop the bleeding in 5 minutes. Stop the bleeding in 5 minutes, and then do the investigation that you need to do. And that is how we do time to containment. Okay. Time to containment is the future. Nobody in cybersecurity is going to be opening incidents and doing things in 15 minutes and 20 minutes and 2 hours and 4 hours. That day has passed. It's all about automation. It's about my bot army against the hacker's bot army. That is the future of cybersecurity. And Strategem, now a Bell Canada company, we are way ahead of everybody. So if you believe that you want to protect your environment and you want to take the steps necessary, come to us. We know what we're doing. We've been doing it for a while, and we're very successful at doing it. So thank you very much, and we'll chat again soon.